Tonalli, Teyolia, and Ihiyotl. Nahuatl words. For Nahua groups, all three describe psychic entities that were housed in the body. In many cultures, the body has been regarded as a receptacle of intangible things. And within this, there are other containers that perform functions that go beyond biological ones. Depending on the culture in question, there are more valuable organs than others. For example, the ancient Egyptians considered the heart as the main organ, and instead the brain was seen as a worthless organ. Therefore, the heart was kept inside the mummy, protected with special amulets, even though it would be heavy in the final trial. And well, the pre-Hispanic cultures also gave it a very special value to the heart. But beside this one, we have two other organs that also perform important functions. Now, before we explain them, let's talk about the problems to define them. The original visions of these concepts has been lost and we will never get it back. Since Tonalli, Teyolia, and Ihiyotl are altered, and not just by the Spaniards. For this distortion is seen in indigenous groups since they use crosses and Christian elements inside their homes and in their celebrations. We also have images like this, which have given many interpretations, but from the image design we see the influence of European drawing techniques. Do not set the chronicles of the 16th century that were written in a foreign language and by convertors, conquerors, or indigenous cults. Both those or time researchers who define this concept do so from an academic point of view, and not so vivencially. Or there are also studies using research techniques and physiological concepts alien to these cultures. And of course, the most common words used to refer to them as if they were synonymous are those of souls, animas, or spiritus. Foreigner words as well. And to these deformations is added the problem that neither between originating groups there is a unification of criteria with regard to the organs of the body where these etheric issues are removed. For example, the post-colonial Maya coincide in some things with the Nahua vision, but in other respects they differ. Well, some Mayans tell us about the existence of a major duality, where man is made up of two different substances, one terrestrial and the other supernatural divine. From the soul and its products derives the heavy component that is the person itself, his body. And from the deities of natural come the forces, entities, and fluids capable of animating the human. These dual visions tell us of an inanimated being, as it could be a tether, but that be entire these intangible elements makes it take life. Other Mayan groups agree that the heart is one of the main organs, having their own words that define what in European they could call soul, as for example Pixan in Maya Yucateco. We have to have those souls or souls not only dwell in the heart, because hostiles believe that the soul can be on the tip of the tongue, the heart, the blood, and the whole body. The Setzals say that the soul can be in the heart and that it can leave the body both through the mouth and through the coronilla. Or the Chontals believe that the soul is located both in the breath and in the heart. Therefore, many believe that the heart is not a unitary element but a sort of physic flow capable of spreading through various parts of the body, just like blood does through the veins. But when we try to define our theme, let's start with Teyolia. Yolio or Teyolia come from Ihiyotl, meaning heart, and this word is term derives from the verb yoli, which means living. This organ is the vessel of the Teyolia, and at the same time is the motor of the body, by which it is lived, some said. Heart, that also has the symbolism of being the core center or seat of the person. As a seed planted in the body, it is the provider of vitality, emotion, action, movement, memory, and individual energy. Teyolia plants the human essence, its life, the most important of its mental faculties and its belonging to a family group. But since everything has a beginning and end, theology leaves the body at the death of the individual. However, there are theories that speak of the temporary loss of Teyolia, which sought to explain diseases unknown to them, such as epileptic seizures or getting crazy. There are some kind of affections of Teyolia, but the final loss of Teyolia is in death. Therefore, leaving the body according to the cause of death would go to places like the Tlalocan, the Mictlan, the Cihuatlampa, etc., finishing with the fact that Teyolia was considered warm in life and cold after death. Tonality was defined as a caloric element derived from the sun, which, when entering the body, the head was carried by the blood, distributing it throughout the body, concentrating in the coronilla. This entity was related to dreams, for it was considered that experiences experienced during sleep were the product of the deambulation of the tonality on the outside of the body. The tonality is closely related to the pre-Hispanic calculus, specifically with its secret calendar, for this varied according to the influence that it exercised on the individual with the different patron deities of the day of his birth, conditioning with it his name, destiny, and personal characteristics. The tonality resides in the head and is the bond with the natural forces, and some believe that the Omeyocan connects the person with the sky. But unlike Teyolia, they believe to enter the body. This is introduced into the newborn in a ritual, thus remaining permanently housed in it as one of its soul entities. There was also the possibility of losing or decreasing its strength, because being related to the sun is linked to the strength or decrease of the sun. The tonality, as we said, in relation to sleep, could be temporarily absent from the body, in a dream or in a state of drunkenness. Also, tonality can harm other psychic entities, and if the individual's behavior was immoral, the tonality would receive punishment. Some believe that this is a kind of secondary soul to Teyolia, and as Will has, this is located mainly on the top of the head. It was also believed to be in the hair growing there. Therefore, in several ceremonies it was to remove the hair of certain people, as a way to tear off their tonality. And unlike the Teyolia, which went elsewhere at death, the tonality reset on the heart after death, and it was usually kept by the deceased relatives in a box that contained his ashes and 2 hairs. Finally, let's talk about the Ihiyotl, which was left in the liver. This regulated the physical vigor, a part of the passions and feelings. The Ihiyotl is an energy force, but like the other entities, it is ambivalent in being beneficial or dangerous. Here, a virtuous person has a clean liver, and, on the contrary, bad actions defile this entity. This forms part of the nature of air, of Ihiyotl, which enter the body with the first breath after birth. Being cut off at the moment of death, just as the air was unstable and uncertain and could carry diseases and evils. Its location resided in the liver, the organ of passions, envy, anger, and anguish. In the lifetime of the individual, it could leave the body, and it could enter into other beings. For example, in the wind of the night, Ihiyotl. It was also scattered on the surface of the air and could become ghost beings or diseases, or take the animic form of an animal becoming a Nahua. As you see, these three essences could acquire positive and negative aspects that could help or harm the guest's health. Depending on the man's conduct, or even because of actions of third parties that could harm them. How to say a man had a stone heart? Or the Teyolia, which is breath, but the same word, which could help or could with the air that comes out of the mouth in words. But the three together made the human being unique. They were personality attributes that complement each other, which regulated specific characteristics, such as having chosen to be born in a particular community, have a soft character, good, bad, strong, etc., with a destiny traced in life as a warrior, nobleman, merchant according to his tone, with possible diseases, benign or malignant emotions, which alter either tonally, Ihiyotl or Teyolia, and be able to represent three planes as in nature, with the tonally in the sky of the head, with the Teyolia in the heart as a seed to be planted, and with the Ihiyotl in the underworld. Obviously, when compared with our time, there are things that would not agree, like their belief that thoughts and memory are housed in the heart and not in the brain as we know it today. But we cannot still be demanding, because even today we don't know much about the human body and how many organs work. Let's not even today we know 100 is right if we have a soul, and no one knows if there is something after death or where it goes in their case. We can therefore see the difficulty of understanding these concepts, because we're talking about things that can be touched, like codex or a pyramid base. But that nevertheless speak to us of life beliefs and wants of a modernizing system that sought that with straight actions of men do not damage or alter these three receptor organs and what they contain. And they also tell us that in their beliefs death was not the end, and there was something else even before birth. Now let us remember that there were beings who waited for their moment of being born again to enter a new body in gestation. Therefore, tonally, Teyolia and Ihiyotl had specific and complementary functions, the same that when entering the body and its containers gave life to the flesh, the muscles, the blood, and other parts of the body, thus creating a unique and unrepeatable being in these lands of the Anahuac.